I was gonna upload this video, but then I got high.
No, you wasn't.
We all know the song, right? It was pretty much inescapable if you were alive in the early 2000s.
Because I got high.
While it's easy to dismiss Afroman as just another one-hit wonder, his knack for writing catchy tunes would later play a key role in his fight against tyranny. But this video isn't about Afroman's music, at least not entirely. It's about how an artist exposed the badge-wearing criminals who violated his rights, resurrecting his career in the process, as so-called law enforcement officers sink to embarrassing new lows to justify their corruption and protect their delicate egos. This is how Afroman took the power back.
A legal battle over privacy for officers involved in a raid. At the center of it, rapper Afroman.
You want to help me put my doors back up? You want to stop stealing my money? You want to stop disconnecting my camera so nobody won't see the criminal acts you're committing?
Rapper Afroman says he will not stop using videos of deputies raiding his home to promote his music and merchandise. Now those deputies are suing, saying the rapper is causing harm.
He gonna take a double take on the pound cake. And he didn't know whether to shoot me or cut him a slice of that lemon pound cake. My rap songs are more intimidating than their rifles.
Long before the now infamous raid on his Ohio home, Afroman was Joseph Foreman, a Mississippi native with an early penchant for music. He wrote his first diss track in the 6th grade and later played guitar and drums in his church band. By the mid-90s, he was self-releasing his music, selling it while performing at local clubs and house parties. His breakthrough hit, Because I Got High, was initially recorded as a joke for his friends. Undeniably catchy, its story about the woes of being a lazy pothead was both hilarious and relatable.
I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high.
The song became an unlikely hit in an era when openly discussing cannabis use was still relatively taboo. The song's early popularity was boosted by the rise of MP3 file sharing programs, making it one of the first songs to go viral on the internet.
Do you know they had to make up the word viral to explain what my song had done?
Was Napster really the place that got you kind of popular or no?
Yes, that was like the first YouTube. That was like the first like little file sharing.
Exactly.
I didn't know nothing about that, but when I gave it to somebody, they'd go home and upload it, and it'd just be all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Radio plays soon followed, and within 2 short years, Afroman was a household name, boasting a smash hit single, a certified gold record, MTV video rotations, a Grammy nomination, and a major label deal. While his subsequent releases never quite captured the same success,
Code 45 and 2 zigzags, baby, that's all we need.
Afroman never stopped writing, producing, and touring, earning respect in the industry and a loyal fan base, with a musical style that embraced 2 things: simplicity and positivity. He also avoided the traditional pitfalls that often plague so-called one-hit wonders, such as bankruptcy, substance abuse, mental health issues, and other downsides that often accompany the pressures of a sudden rise to fame.
People say you're a one-hit wonder. Well, how many hits do you need?
To this day, Afroman remains a prolific artist and businessman, touring constantly, despite having more or less settled down in the quiet Ohio countryside. His financial successes have allowed him to indulge in modest luxuries, a lowrider car collection, his signature flamboyant suits, and of course, cannabis. All from the unlikely success of a single hit song. That, my friends, is the American dream. The Afroman raid has become quite notorious for all of the absurdity and controversy that unfolded in its wake. It's difficult to even picture it without thinking about the memes, parody songs, and petty lawsuits. We'll be covering all of that in this video, but for now we're going to focus on the raid itself, setting aside the later events to better appreciate the gravity of what really happened, which tends to get overshadowed by its aftermath. Adams County is an almost all-white community in southern Ohio, where Afroman relocated from Hattiesburg in 2005. It's an admittedly odd choice for an OG to call home, especially for a pimp suit-wearing, blunt-smoking minority rap artist.
Affordability, space, and peace. Real cheap, I can live like a king, I got lots of land. I like to party, but I like to recuperate from the party. So this is a great place for me regroup, regather, and recharge.
Area law enforcement is handled by the Adams County Sheriff's Office, a corrupt and incompetent gang of cowards and criminals, as you will soon see. The only time in 15 years that Afroman required their services was after his house got burglarized while he was away on tour.
They took 3 days to come out, take a report, and didn't give me a copy of the report because that's what I needed to give the insurance company to get some of the stuff back that was taken from my home.
The sheriffs not only refused to do their job, but they threatened Afroman with arrest if he continued to follow up on it.
And they were starting to get irritated at me checking up on the progress of the case. This dude got on the horn one time. He was like, if you call up here again, it will get addressed. You understand cop talk, you know. That means don't call up here no more or else we're gonna fuck you up some kind of way. I realized the police department was not designed to serve and protect me, a black man in America. So I accepted that fact and I just installed my cameras and I began to just try to protect stuff on my own. You know what I'm saying?
On August 21st, 2022, just before 8 p.m., the Adams County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant on Afroman's residence in the form of a no-knock raid. A no-knock raid is exactly that. Police do not announce their presence, but rather force their way inside in a sudden and violent invasion of the property by a heavily armed team prepared to use deadly force. In the United States, a search warrant requires probable cause and judicial approval. The use of a no-knock raid must be proportionate to the threat posed and necessary to achieve the law enforcement objective. In other words, there must be a reasonable belief that announcing their presence would lead to the immediate destruction of evidence, or that suspects are likely to respond with immediate violence. No-knock raids are highly controversial, and their usage has skyrocketed in the US in recent years, increasing by an estimated 4,000% since the 1980s. This is a disturbing byproduct of the militarization of police departments in America, and an unsettling reminder that unchecked authority leads to unbridled power. If that weren't shocking enough, the majority of those 70,000 no-knock warrants executed in America each year were looking for marijuana. We'll take a look at the Adams County search warrant here in a bit, which indeed specified cannabis, but it also included some additional, very serious allegations. Afroman was not home at the time of the raid, but his wife and 2 young children were nearby at a neighbor's house.
My neighbors called me and told me that the police were all over my property. My kids was next door playing in the yard when they could see the police officers pulling up.
Afroman, on his way back from performing in Chicago, accessed his home security cameras on his phone and watched helplessly as the raid unfolded in real time.
He could have took the pin out, but he just bent the fence all back. All right, now they get out. Weapons, look at dude aiming at the house. This dude, yeah, he aiming. He all late, he just, yeah, you know. Okay, all clear.
One deputy can be seen returning to his car, rushing to retrieve a battering ram that presumably none of them thought to grab, an early indicator of the Adams County Sheriff's incompetence. After destroying the gate at the end of the driveway, they broke down 2 doors to gain entry into the house. The deputies, dressed in a variety of tactical and combat gear, swarmed the inside with their weapons pointed.
Man, this dude wanted to shoot me. Watch this. Just in case. Yeah, motherfucker looked over the couch, ready to shoot me over the couch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 300 pounds, and I'm 6'4". What am I gonna do behind that couch? Some dude got on camouflage. Some dude out here from Afghanistan. Oh, where's he at, dude? Well, you guys go down there, man. All right, we'll go down here.
Once they cleared the house, they began conducting their search, which lasted several hours. In the days that followed, Afroman began posting his home video surveillance footage of the raid to social media, his commentary providing nicknames for each of the deputies, whose real identities were not known at the time.
Here come Full Metal Jacket, Private Pile. Private Pile / Beetle Baby. It's like they didn't check already. Yeah, all right. Man, boy, they want to kill me bad. Okay, now, watch the physically challenged officer come in here. He gonna take a double take on the pound cake. He gonna look at the pound cake and he, hey man, that pound cake. And he didn't know whether to shoot me or cut him a slice of that lemon pound cake. Look at this dude, look like he from Duck Dynasty. You know what I'm saying? Look like Uncle Jesse after he went on a diet or something. What is he doing up in here, man? This ain't even a cop. This just some country dude that stopped hunting and started helping them out or something. Going all through my pockets. Here we go, in my refrigerator. Deputy Paw Patrol. Deputy Humpback moving in. Deputy Receding Hairline. Beetle Bailey. Chutch on the move. Ain't nothing but some fly ass cars, man. All clear. They found my money, start going through my money. You see them holding my money. I rap every night. I wore that suit the night I got paid. You gonna smell it? Yeah, it smell like weed, smell like Coke 45 too. But they found $4,000 in one suit, boy. Boy, you pulling another one down. Oh, he probably found some money in it. What's in that one? What's in that one? What's in that one? What we got? What we got? What's in here? What's in there? Where the money? Oh yeah, man, that's my favorite one. Officer Pound Cake, Family Guy. Where's he gonna look next? Oh, Officer Pound Cake. Oh, he don't like collard greens and cornbread.
I've heard of raiding the fridge, but this is ridiculous. Raiding the fridge? Is this thing on? So what in the hell are they actually looking for? The search warrant, which wouldn't be released until more than a week later, was largely focused on cannabis-related evidence. I'm not sure where they got that idea.
Say smoke marijuana, smoke marijuana. Smoke marijuana, smoke.
I mean, maybe. But what's the rest of this say down here? Possession and trafficking and kidnapping? Kidnapping?
Over here, there's a DVR. That's what run the camera system. There's no kidnapping victims in the DVR. There's no 100 pounds of weed in the DVR. I don't know what the hell police officers looking for kidnap victims are doing in my house, disconnecting the video system. She's looking at my video. She sees there's no kidnapping victims. She sees there's no 100, 200 pounds of drugs. Okay, they're looking at it. They don't want to be videotaped, you know, taking money. And all right, this is what these people are doing in your house. Now, if you was a good cop, why would you want to cut off the video? Don't you want to verify the fact that you are a good cop? But if you're not a good cop, that's why you would want to cut it off. Now she's fucking up my home video system. Sheriff Sam Sausagehead, Eminem Elliott comes over to hold a flashlight to make sure she cuts off my video system. Beetle Bailey is looking through my CDs for kidnap victims. All right. He's looking. He doesn't see. Oh, the video system got cut off. And what the fuck is that? What's that? Yeah, to protect and serve. Yeah, for the people, by the people.
The sheriffs later claimed they were planning to take the DVR into evidence, but then changed their mind.
After they disconnected my cameras, they could have stole whatever. You know, I got like some priceless CDs missing. I got, you know, pictures missing. But they cut off my cameras and you know, stole my money. They look like criminals camouflaged as law enforcement.
Very little body camera footage was ever released to the public, but from what we can see, the search is winding down. And even though it must be clear to them by now that their kidnapping and trafficking warrant is completely bogus, the deputies still perform cursory checks, looking for false walls, trap doors, or secret rooms.
But ain't no telling what I really had. You know, they turned the cameras off. You know what I'm saying? So if you're like the so-called good guy, you should verify the fact that you are a good guy and leave the cameras running. The only people that want to turn the cameras off is people that don't want to be like identified while they're doing a crime. You know what I'm saying? Something needs to happen to where cops need to obey the law they enforce. And then if they're doing this to me, you know, how many other people are they doing that to?
At the end of the day, the only items seized in the raid were a vape pen that Afroman says is not his and was probably left there by a guest. A few pipes, never used. They were gifts made by fans, and he keeps them because they are sentimental. A few blunt roaches, and $5,031 in cash, which becomes the subject of its own controversy later. Also, 0 pounds of weed and 0 kidnapping victims, which means there were 0 charges filed and 0 arrests made. And while we're at it, 1 busted gate and 2 busted doors.
Vandalized and destroyed my home, ripped up my video camera, and then stole my money. No apology. Okay, you wanna help me put my doors back up? You wanna stop stealing my money? You wanna stop going through my suit pockets? You wanna, stop disconnecting my camera? So nobody won't see the criminal acts you're committing?
Then I asked him if he would help me put my door back on the hinges and help me fix my gate. And that's when he cracked a little smile and said, "We're not required to do that." And that's their way of just letting you know that that's how it is and you can't do nothing about it.
I believe that most people have experienced a moment in their lives when, no matter what their outlook on life or how hard they try to stay positive or see the good in things, something comes along and shatters that perception, leaving them with a loss of faith in humanity. If Afroman ever had this moment, I'll bet it was that one.
That night, I came home, and I'm a rapper. I'm not a carpenter, so I don't know how to put my door back up. So I just had to step over my door and shattered glass and everything and go upstairs and sleep while the insects just flew in the house, and these are criminals with immunity. And I think the immunity, puts them in a position to be better criminals. You know what I'm saying?
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. How and why this search warrant came to be, and how and why something like this is allowed to happen to an innocent person in America. As stated earlier, the first thing you need for a warrant is probable cause. It's safe to assume that the standards for PC have decreased significantly over time, as evidenced by the increasing number of warrants being issued. One could almost say it's just a formality at this point, especially with a corrupt judge willing to sign off on it. A corrupt, racist judge, if you were to ask Afroman. Probable cause must be backed by certain evidence. In Afroman's warrant, the only basis for alleged criminal activity were statements made by a confidential informant. The use of CI tips to establish probable cause is highly controversial, with obvious concerns such as the informant's credibility, motivation, and lack of accountability. Far too often, the tips go uncorroborated, which can lead to false raids, sometimes with deadly outcomes. Unfortunately, the practice is largely unregulated, and so it tends to be exploited by incompetent, lazy, or just plain corrupt law enforcement agencies. The informant tips in Afroman's search warrant read like bad fiction. They claim that, in addition to assisting Fro in transporting large amounts of weed back to Adams County and consistently observing large amounts of weed and money at Afro's house, he also keeps women locked up in a basement dungeon. Let that sink in for a moment. Allow me to offer a collective, what the fuck? Which one of the deputies independently verified these claims? Afro's house doesn't even have a basement, for God's sake. And a judge signed off on this? We'll return to the dishonorable Droopy Gabbert later. But who exactly was this confidential informant? It wasn't hard for Afroman to deduce upon reading the Afro David, which effectively outed her as his former personal assistant. It's unclear whether she had a vendetta or was trying to cut a deal, but her claims were obviously fabricated. So the Adams County sheriffs, whether lazy, incompetent, or just plain corrupt, raided Afro's home based solely on the outlandish claims of Tasha Chamblin, a career criminal who has been arrested at least 12 times in Ohio in the last 5 years. A complete clusterfluff, exemplifying, if not proving, the case against no-knock raids in this society. When Afro found out who had lied to the police, defamed his character, and put his family's life in danger, he went nuclear, putting the snitch on blast. He publicly shamed her on his social media, and even immortalized her in the lyrics to this song.
When Tasha snitch you, Adams County hit you, do it so hard, the frame might split you. I'm not with you, I'm against you. You are a rat and the sheriff represents you.
or quit for a fit. Adams County is mine. I'ma spell my name one more time. It's the A-F-R-O-M-A-N. They just raided my house again. Recognize cricket cops when you see them. Make them go viral, everybody see them. I'm going back to Cali.
There's some old saying that goes, when life gives you lemons, blah, blah, blah. But we don't deal in platitudes around here. But have no doubt, when Afroman gets some lemons, that dude gonna turn around and make some money. He didn't get to where he's at today by being a dummy or a slacker. Fro has that damn, that's a hard word to say. Especially after a medi sesh or whatever.
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah, that. Let's just say he has a keen business sense and knows an opportunity when he sees one.
I use it in such a way where my problems became my solution. You know what I'm saying? I could have just let that be my reality and that just would have been that. But singing about it and having a good time with it turned it into my solution. You know what I'm saying?
Even before the songs were released, the lemon pound cake itself became a meme almost overnight, with fans latching onto the tasty treat as a delicious new catchphrase.
He gonna take a double take on the pound cake. He gonna look at the pound cake and hey man, that pound cake. And he didn't know whether to shoot me or cut him a slice of that lemon pound cake. He backed up. He wants some of that pound cake, man.
Also during this time, Afroman's career would enjoy a sweet boost of its own, as the clips of the botched raid were going viral on TikTok and Instagram. He recognized the immense potential at play, and creativity began to flow. Initially, he only wanted to recoup the cost of damages to his property caused by the sheriffs. However, his trilogy of raid-inspired music videos would eventually become a cultural phenomenon.
So here I am. I'm getting like 2 and 3 comments on Instagram. I'm doing all right, but you know, I'm bored. When they kicked the door in, money kicked down the door. Material kicked down the door. I didn't have nothing to write about. When they kicked down the door, they gave me relevant, interesting material. Did you find what you was looking for? In my life, I sing about what I go through. I was gonna clean my room, but then I got hot. You know, I tell my story about that. Well, I'm like, will you help me repair my gate? And then I'm not just making this up. I show him destroying my gate. Will you help me repair my gate and door? Let me ask you something, officer. Any kidnapping victims inside my seat pockets? Any kidnapping victims inside my CDs?
How long did it take you to write that song?
To be fair, maybe a good 30 minutes. I think I just wanted to say whatever I was feeling. They came over here with guns to kill me. The best thing I came up with was write songs about my experience and try to sell them and make some money to pay for the destruction that they brought to my house.
Done right, it was a blessing in disguise. Through a rapper's lens, if I played the cards I was dealt.
Next, Afro sold the actual doors broken down in the raid to the highest bidder in an auction for his fans.
I want to send a big shout out to my man, Jonathan Reed, man. Hey, thanks for getting this door. You know what I'm saying? Put it up. Great decoration piece, great conversation piece. And right about now, I want to give a big shout out, you know what I'm saying, to my man Springer, Sean Springer. He got the winning bid, $2,100. So, thank you so much, man. It's going down. I want to thank everybody that participated in the bid. I appreciate you, man. I want to thank the vandals at the Adams County Sheriff Department for making this door worth $2,100. Yeah, cheers. The Adams County Sheriff kicked down my door. Then I heard the glass break. They found no kidnapping victims, just some lemon pound cake. Lemon pound cake. He wanna put down his Glock. Lemon pound cake. Trending on TikTok. Lemon pound cake.
The decision to use actual raid footage in the music videos was a stroke of genius. Not only did it drastically reduce production costs, but it was a simple and effective way to expose the Adams County sheriffs. The concept was also highly original. Afroman had basically invented a new form of expression, a First Amendment-protected bitch slap against tyranny, utilizing the power of music and the reach of social media, allowing the cops' own actions to speak for themselves. The comedic tone of the lyrics made the music all the more accessible, and it wasn't hard to support the cause of an artist who had clearly been done dirty by law enforcement and was now just trying to make the most of a bad situation. On September 30th, just 5 weeks after the raid, Afroman released the full-length album Lemon Pound Cake, along with some new merch, including a specially flavored weed vape and a slew of new t-shirt designs.
Deputy Dipshit. That's the guy that thought a 400-pound man was behind the couch.
Ah yes, the infamous t-shirts, each one featuring a different Adams County tyrant with their affectionate nickname, coined by Afroman himself.
The Hunchback of Adams County. Ranger Randy, Private Pal, Beetle Bailey, Walter, Judge Roy Jupy, Fictitious Warrant Signing Gabbard, Deputy Dumbo Duck Douchebag Dynasty, Fidel Castro, Uncle Jesse Osama Bin Stealing My Clothes, Sheriff Sam Sausage Head Eminem Elliott, Lieutenant Mona Lickum Lisa, Full of Shit Phillips, and of course, the king, the leader of the ring, Police Officer Pound Cake.
Of all the raid-inspired content that Afroman released, this one stands out as my favorite. Lyrically, it's the most impassioned and personal, while the video makes the most clever use of the security footage so far. We see Afroman growing increasingly paranoid while enjoying a blunt, hiding from the cops in many of the same ridiculous places they searched during the raid.
August 21st was the day the Adams County Sheriff destroyed my gate. They ran up my driveway with guns and hate to steal my funds. They just couldn't wait. I know you want me dead or in the slammers, but why you unhooking my video camera? Any kidnapping victims in my refrigerator? Congratulations, TikTok star. Now the world knows how stupid you are. What do you see in my CDs? Look at the screen, can you see these? What do you see in my CD books? You can't see me, but I can see you crooks. The British are coming, the British are coming. Hide your money, your kids and your woman. White supremacists on my premises. What is this? A racist feminist? Why you disconnecting my video camera? Why you disconnecting my video camera? Why you disconnecting my video camera? We ought to throw crooked cops in the slammer.
Let me ask y'all a question. How do you miscount $400? You know, I can see you miscounting 3, 2, 5. If you had a couple of beers, maybe 7. How do you miscount $400?
About 3 months after the raid, the Adams County DA's office finally conceded that no valid criminal charges could be brought against Afroman, and they agreed to release his seized property, specifically the large amount of cash that was found in one of his suit pockets. To ensure there was no funny business, Afroman brought along his legal team and a local TV news crew to document the process. And well, what could possibly go wrong?
We watched it being counted out of sealed evidence bags, and $400 in cash was missing. You can see both bags were sealed.
This is $43.90.
Multiple people counted the cash, and the numbers didn't add up. The cash seized by officers that day was $400 short.
I don't have an answer for you.
That's not a accidental amount.
Afroman says the missing cash is just the icing on the cake when it comes to how negatively his life has been impacted since his home was raided in August.
Sometimes I have to talk myself into going to sleep because it's like, wow, man, you know, what if they come back in here, you know, popping around, sweeping around?
Afroman and his attorney said they will be filing a defamation suit against the county.
The person on the right in this photo, that's Afroman's lawyer. Just pointing that out for no particular reason at all. So what do you do if you're a corrupt sheriff, too lazy to even investigate yourself? You task a neighboring equally corrupt department to investigate for you.
Right after this, we contacted Adams County Sheriff Kenny Rogers. He had the Claremont County Sheriff's Office look into this matter in an independent audit. It found that during the raid, deputies miscounted.
I'm not mad at these dudes. I don't want nothing bad to happen to them, but they need to pay me.
Afroman says he believes his money was stolen by deputies.
You're not going to get hired by the sheriff's station and you don't know how to count.
So the independent investigation came to the conclusion that if a miscount happened before, it must have happened for a second time. Afroman says moving forward, he will file a lawsuit because from the beginning, he feels the overall investigation has damaged his character and ability to book some performances.
Putting out a warrant saying kidnapping on that warrant, that's a defamation of my character, and I need to be compensated for financial damages. And then, you know, my children were traumatized. I don't think they had to run all up and down my driveway with guns.
We reached out to Adams County Sheriff Kenny Rogers regarding Afroman's claims, and Rogers had no comment.
Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the Adams County tyrants were preparing a legal case of their own. And on March 13th, 7 Adams County deputies filed a lawsuit against Afroman for damages related to his use of their likeness in his music videos and merchandise. In what can only be described as one of the most embarrassing and petty civil cases in living memory, the deputies filed a number of claims, including defamation and violation of privacy. Warning: the following segment may cause emotional distress, secondhand embarrassment, intense cringe, and a deep shame for humanity. Viewer discretion is advised.
As a result of defendants' unauthorized use of their personas, plaintiffs have suffered embarrassment, ridicule, emotional distress, humiliation, and loss of reputation. Defendants made statements that were false on social media postings, subjecting them to undue ridicule, embarrassment, mental distress, and danger. Defendants continue to subject them to undue ridicule, mental distress, and danger. And unless Afroman is stopped, plaintiffs will suffer irreparable injury to their reputations and their mental health.
Well, I mean, I already had a deep shame for humanity, but this definitely made me cringe. It almost feels like self-parody. This might be a new low, even for law enforcement.
These big, tough dudes that laugh when you ask them to help you put your door back on the hinge, it's turning to these little whiny crybabies.
These big, bad dudes is feeling humiliated. What? Like me? Mental stress? Like me? And they're suing me? I won. My rap songs are more intimidating than their rifles.
Rapper Afroman says he will not stop using videos of deputies raiding his home to promote his music and merchandise.
Claiming, among other things, that Afroman invaded their privacy. They also want money from merchandise Afroman is currently selling. The lawsuit is asking that deputies are compensated from any money generated through merchandise and songs that use their names or images.
So it seems what they're really after is a piece of that lemon pound cake money. Actually, they want all of it.
And this is my home, my property. I didn't commit any crimes. They broke into my house and put themselves on my home surveillance footage.
To contrast the privacy claims, this random lawyer babe comes on with a pretty good counterpoint.
The officers do have a reasonable right to privacy. We all do. Officers acting in their job, executing their job functions, is typically not going to rise to the level of a violation of privacy.
The attorney for those deputies say that his clients, those deputies, have gotten numerous death threats. They're really being targeted.
So somewhere in the lawsuit, there is a vague mention of anti-life threats.
Attorney Robert Klingler represents those deputies who say Afroman's social media posts and use of their images to sell songs and merchandise are not only damaging to their reputation and careers, but also putting their lives in danger.
Obviously, any threats received should be taken seriously and investigated accordingly. That said, when a government official claims to have received threats, I usually take it with a grain of salt. There's rarely any proof of these threats, and these claims can be employed to garner sympathy or divert attention. This idiot lawyer guy representing the tyrants comes on next and proceeds to actually weaken the credibility of the very threats.
My understanding is that the threats were coming not even from Adams County, but from the West Coast, from states far away.
Among Afroman's many colorful and often incendiary social media posts about the ordeal, this one stands out as particularly powerful.
Dear Adams County Sheriff Department, I don't want you to suffer irreparable injuries to your reputation or mental health, like you did my reputation when you falsely accused me of kidnapping, or like you did my kids' mental health when you ran around my home with assault rifles. I'm sorry you're getting death threats. However, those death threats are better than the actual death you tried to give me in front of my children. I'm happy to know the death threats are far away in another state, which makes you safe. The death threats are not coming from Adams County like the actual death you tried to give me in front of my kids. You didn't come to my house with a death threat, you had live bullets that distribute actual death.
Many of his posts share a similar tone. Afroman was convinced, for a while at least, that the sheriff's raid was supposed to be an attempt on his life.
I think they wanted to just try to kill me by accident in the raid. Wanted me to pop up in my underwear holding the remote control to the TV so they can blame, the remote and say that's a pistol. I thought my partner's life was in, it's a mind game, Cop opportunists, he don't like you. They like to give you the opportunity to give them the opportunity to do something bad to you.
In a pre-trial hearing, literally held on 4/20, who else showed up to support Afroman but the ACLU? This is not to be taken lightly. Basically the avengers of constitutional rights. They have played a part in many landmark cases over the years and are quick to defend egregious attacks on the First Amendment. While Afro's hottest-fuck lawyer had already filed a motion to dismiss, the ACLU of Ohio filed an amicus brief on Fro's behalf, which reads like an MTD on stims. Essentially, it's a supportive filing by a third-party non-litigant, usually one with considerable influence and expertise, to provide additional information and arguments. The amicus filing is quite enjoyable to read, as it systematically shreds all of the plaintiff's complaints, calling them meritless, contradictory, and even incoherent.
I like what you've done here.
I won't get too bogged down in it, but some of this is too good not to share. They call out the deputy's case as a classic slap suit, a lawsuit designed to silence criticism or otherwise infringe on First Amendment rights. On the claim that Afroman falsely profited off of their likenesses, there was no misappropriated commercial value, as their likenesses had no value to begin with. It was Afroman's songs that created the value. On the false like claims, which means portraying someone in a false or misleading way, the plaintiffs fail to argue that any of Afroman's statements, such as breaking his gate and door, stealing his money, disconnecting his cameras, and traumatizing his kids, are false. On the contrary, these statements are in fact supported by the very footage linked in their complaint. I'll leave a link to this banger of a PDF in the description. Anyway, about 6 months later, on October 10th, the judge finally ruled on the motions. He rightfully dismissed the first two claims on the basis that Afroman's commentary was protected free speech. However, the other three claims were allowed to proceed, and as of the making of this video, that's where the case currently stands. Afroman has vowed to countersue, and we'll be paying close attention when that happens. On an ironic side note, the deputy's lawsuit against Afroman became a prime example of the Cody Vore effect, formerly known as the Streisand effect. We officially renamed it the Cody Vore effect right here on this channel, and I'll link that video below if you want to learn the story behind that. Basically, this is what happens when attempts at censorship backfire. Afroman was already enjoying viral success with the lemon pound cake videos, but after the deputies filed their lawsuit against him, Afroman's popularity surged yet again, boosting his music and merch sales to the point where his t-shirts were frequently sold out. The story was irresistible, so much that even the mainstream media were reporting on it. And the ignorant deputies, who were supposedly so concerned with their privacy, blasted their own names onto the publicly available legal filings, thereby immortalizing their shame. This phenomenon of attempting to remove or censor information or content, only to have it backfire and become far more publicized than it ever would have been otherwise, became known as the Cody Vore effect. You can't erase something from the internet. The Adams County sheriffs will forever be remembered as cowards, thieves, and tyrants, at least as far as the internet is concerned. Congratulations, this is your legacy. In late 2022, Afroman announced his presidential bid for the 2024 election.
Can I make the biggest announcement I ever made in my life? I'm running for president for 2024.
We don't get political on this channel, but this is worth including because some of his key platform issues are right in line with the values and principles of First Amendment auditing.
And I would like to see some serious police reform. I would like for an officer not to be able to get paid if he turns off his camera. And then I want civilians to monitor the cops. I don't want the cops editing their own videos, blurring out what they don't want you to see, showing only what they want.
Among his key points on police reform are ending qualified immunity and normalizing citizens monitoring police to ensure accountability. Also in his core agenda, unsurprisingly, is the federal legalization of cannabis.
Well, Afroman is back, but now he wants high office. High office.
Some might understandably dismiss this as just a publicity stunt, but I think that over the course of this video, we've seen that Afroman is someone who should not be underestimated. And to his credit, he seems to be going all in. He secured his name on the ballot in several states, and is holding actual campaign rallies across the US. What I admire most about Afroman is his ability to bounce back in the face of injustice, and just being able to find the silver lining in things.
The biggest compliment I get is taking a bad situation and making it a good one. They like, that's all I hear. Man, I love how you turned it around. I love how you took all that bad stuff. And, man, the song was funny, but man, I'm sorry you went through that.
There's one Instagram post that sums it up for me. This photo, presumably taken just after the raid, showing his smashed up door lying on the floor next to the busted up frame, with the caption, "I am still the American dream." I found this to be profoundly moving, that even in that darkest of moments, he refused to let tyranny break his spirit.
Look, you ready for the debut, man? You ready? World premiere, you ready? Come on, y'all watch, here we go.
Shortly after the deputies first announced their lawsuit, Afroman responded in classic form, doubling down in his signature style, appropriating all of their likenesses into one single outfit.
Yeah, the hungry, hustling American dream. What's Adams County's new name?
Afro County.
Afro County, it's the new sheriff in town. Yeah, buddy.
And that's pretty much how it goes for Afroman. He moves on, moves forward, leaving the tyrants in his rear view. New gate, new suit, new door, new record. And the cops? They continue to drown their mentally distressed sorrows in discount pictures of Miller High Life, while Afroman has his name on the side of the fucking can. The emotionally ridiculed, ego-battered tyrants cling pathetically to ruling their sad little domain, trampling on the rights of the very people who fund their paychecks, while Afro hits the road year-round, rapping for his loyal fans, partying and signing titties, living the dream, and yet still finding room in his life to prioritize making a positive change for America. And of all the inspiring things to take from this, just having a good time, even when times are bad. That, my friends, is still the American dream.
I'ma have a good time, good time, good time. Even though times are bad, so bad, so bad, so I'ma bad. Be happy, happy, happy. Even though the world is sad, so sad, so sad, so I'ma sad. Have a good time, good time, good time. Even though times are bad, so bad, so bad, so I'ma bad. Be happy, happy, happy. Even though the world is sad.